Good morning everybody and welcome back to the channel. It feels so good to be recording at my normal time again. As you know, I did last week's video on a Monday afternoon. Normally by dinner time I'm absolutely knackered. To me that video was a complete misfire. You guys didn't seem to mind, but it didn't feel right to me. I was tired, I was fluffing lines, it was all over the damn place. But now it's 7:45 Sunday morning. There's nobody up and about yet, so everything's nice and quiet. It feels a lot more natural to be doing it at this time. I feel a lot sharper in my head as well. I'm not saying things won't go wrong, but not to the extent that they did last week. I certainly hope not anyway. So I'll crack on with comments. I've got quite a bit to get through this morning. I would like to get it in at under an hour as per usual. You guys seem to really like it. I mean, first off, I will say thanks ever so much for all your comments and the questions that you keep setting me. It's absolutely brilliant. I am really enjoying doing these at the moment, and the comments that I'm getting are basically telling me that you guys are enjoying them as much as I'm enjoying making them. So you know what I mean, I'm loving it at the moment. So thanks ever so much for that, because it's all due to you guys participating and giving me stuff to talk about, which is why I'm sitting here doing what I do. So yeah, thanks ever so much for that, guys. It's very much appreciated. It never ever gets taken for granted, I assure you. So right, comments, start off. I'll start with Dave Lowe. He posted this on the video yesterday, and I messaged him and basically said, well, I don't even know what that means. And he says, oh, you've got to watch a certain movie to understand it. And I didn't realise it was a quote from a movie. I thought he'd posted that comment, or it was meant to go on somebody else's post. So that's why I messaged him. But I'll try and do it in the accent that he's asked me to do it in. But you'll never guess who it is in a million years. Let off some steam, Bennett. You've got to have seen a certain movie to get that, apparently. And he did say to me before he signed off, look out for the comment. And I knew for a fact, the second I heard it, I got a great big cheesy grin slapped all over me, slapped all over my face when he said it. It's Commando, obviously. You will all know that. Only me, having never seen it before, would not have got that. But actually, I'll come back to that shortly. Have I got it on here? No, I haven't. First mistake of the day. I did have a copy of Commando by the side of me, but I'll come back to that one in a bit. So thanks for that, Dave, and thanks for the utter and complete confusion that comment caused. David, always start with David. My favourite Oscars moment was from the 1970s and concerned Marlon Brando and a Native American lady. Now, I'll quote from what I've read, because I'd heard about this, and I didn't know too much about it. I'll read from my notes. In a nutshell, what happened might be put down in two words: Sacheen Littlefeather. When the 26-year-old Native American activist came on stage to decline Marlon Brando's Oscar for Best Actor, awarded to him for his towering performance in The Godfather, it seems all hell broke loose. What she said was, and I've cut this down a little bit, I'm representing Marlon Brando this evening, and he has asked me to tell you that he very regretfully cannot accept this very generous award. And the reasons for this is the treatment of American Indians today by the film industry and on television in movie reruns, and also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee, which I believe is a battle ground. Thank you on behalf of Marlon Brando. I need to watch the video on this. So yeah, I kind of get that. I think I mentioned that one last week, but I wasn't sure basically what had happened with it. But I knew there'd been some sort of controversy in the 70s with Marlon Brando and a Native American lady, but I didn't know the background to it until I read that. But I'm going to have a look at the video. I get the feeling that's going to be very uncomfortable viewing. I think it was Liv Ullmann and Roger Moore that were trying to present the award, and she literally wouldn't accept it from them on Marlon Brando's behalf, of course. So yeah, that's a classic moment without a doubt. Dave, what are your thoughts on The Elephant Man? Loved it, absolutely loved it. Saw it at Burton Odeon 1980-ish. Cracking movie. Anthony Hopkins and John Hurt just faultless, absolutely faultless. I would class it as probably the most mainstream film that David Lynch ever did. In fact, if I'd seen The Elephant Man for the first time sort of recently, I would never in a million years have guessed that it was a David Lynch film because it looked far too straightforward, let's say. But a cracking movie, Dave, absolutely brilliant. And the black and white photography really sets it aside. And what are your favourite Catherine Hepburn films? I love Catherine Hepburn. My all-time favourite has got to be On Golden Pond, in which she starred with Henry Fonda, Jane Fonda, Dabney Coleman. They play an old couple living in the middle of nowhere, and their daughter basically turns up with her new boyfriend and his son. They are just absolutely brilliant. Catherine Hepburn is superb. Henry Fonda is brilliant. Jane Fonda is brilliant in everything she does. Superb movie. If you've not seen it, I'd highly recommend that one. Love The African Queen. Love The Philadelphia Story, which obviously was remade as High Society, the musical with Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra. She also did 3 cracking comedies with Spencer Tracy. Let's see, Woman of the Year, Desk Set, and Adam's Rib. I haven't seen them for years, but I do remember watching them years ago and loving them. And she was also excellent in one called The Lion in Winter, which was set during the reign of Henry II, a sort of historical drama, which I assume is based on facts. I'm not sure, but that was really good. Again, not seen it for many years. I need to catch up with that one again. But that's they're the ones that I can sort of name off the top of my head. So that's me, Catherine Hepburn. A little bit done. I believe that Well Done Parker was featured as part of a Jerry Anderson in concert Blu-ray, but great video as always. Thanks, Dave, much appreciated. I'll have to track down Well Done Parker and post it, because those that haven't seen it and those that love Thunderbirds will absolutely adore it. I know they will. Guy will know it. I'm sure Guy will know it. So thanks for that, Dave. You asked me about my favourite directors last week, and I thought of starting a weekly Director of the Week thread, or maybe even the Director of the Month, I don't know. So what do you guys think of that? If I start, I'll start this one. My favourite director by a country mile has got to be Steven Spielberg. I love his work, absolutely love it. Obviously, Close Encounters. Yes, I know I keep coming back to Close Encounters and Saturday Night Fever, but Close Encounters was an absolute masterpiece. Jaws was superb. Loved Raiders of the Lost Ark, Schindler's List. One of his I've not seen, I believe he did, was it 1941 with John Belushi? I would love to see that sometime. That's one that I never got round to watching. But if I had to set aside a movie that I really, really enjoyed of Steven Spielberg's, that's not, I wouldn't say it's not well known, but when you think of Spielberg, you think of Close Encounters, you think of the big scale sort of blockbusters, that sort of thing. I would actually go for this one, and I'm going to introduce Rob to this one next week because I don't think he's ever seen it. Duel with Dennis Weaver. You all pretty much know what this is about, but for those of you that don't, Dennis Weaver plays a salesman on his way to, I would imagine, some sort of a conference. He has to travel across country on his car, in his car, through the deserts, and basically is menaced by this huge 18-wheel truck that just belches smoke and noise, and it's basically a cat and mouse movie right the way through. It is absolutely superb. It was made in 1971, so it was one of Spielberg's sort of very, very early movies. But this, when you watch this, you see the promise that we're sort of looking forward to, the kind of movies that he's going to be making, and this is absolutely superb. So if you've not seen Duel, definitely pick up a copy of that. I know Mark, I think that comes into your comment later, or was it Jason? I can't remember, but yeah, so I'll do that every week. I'll sort a director out and I'll single out one movie that he's made that I think is outstanding, without going for the most obvious ones, if that makes any sense. So thanks ever so much for that, Dave, much appreciated. Chris, morning Chris. Good morning, sir. Great to see your face this week. Thanks very much, mate, much appreciated. Avatar is one for me that you need to be awake and alert to appreciate how glorious it looks and sounds. So to find the 3 hours is a little tasking. However, get Commando in your player. I'll come back to that in a bit. That is a must watch for all. Cheesy 80s lines and action at its finest. You weren't kidding. A fantastic Clint Eastwood set you have there. All three films are a great watch, all of which will appear on my Western weekend watch list, as well as Rio Bravo. Looking forward to seeing what you make of Rio Bravo. Sam loves it, absolutely loves it, and I believe Roy enjoys that one too. I too picked up that movie recently on 4K. That's Rio Bravo, obviously. So, British movies which I love are known but not spoken about too much are Snatch and Harry Brown, the latter being an absolute beast of a movie for an ageing Michael Caine. I haven't seen Snatch for years, but I did love it. I thought Brad Pitt as the Gippo was just amazing. And Harry Brown, I remember watching the trailer for that probably a couple of months before it came out, and I was convinced it was going to be a Death Wish vigilante kind of movie. It is, but I couldn't have been more wrong. Michael Caine is just absolutely superb. It is a brilliant movie. So those of you that have not seen Harry Brown, and I'm fairly sure a lot of you have, that comes highly recommended from me and from Chris. 71 is another fantastic movie that's not really spoken about, starring Jack O'Connell as a young British soldier sent to Belfast in the early years of the Troubles. He gets separated from his unit and he has to try and get back to safety. I have put that on my watch list. I've seen probably little clips of this and the trailer to it 2 or 3 times over the past few years, but I've always sort of shied away from it. It's not really my kind of film, but if you're recommending it, mate, I've added it to the watch list, and I will be taking a look at that one within the next few weeks, I promise you, and I'll let you know what I think about that one. But it is one of those, again, one of those forgotten movies. One from more recent years is Guy Ritchie's 2019 movie The Gentleman, about a cannabis mogul who is looking to sell his business and retire, but this brings about a lot of wrongdoings. It's gritty, funny, and an all-round great watch, starring Matthew McConaughey, Charlie Hunnam, Colin Farrell, and Hugh Grant, to name a few. I ran into a clip of this on YouTube by accident, looking for something else, and I believe it was Colin Farrell basically beating the crap out of a bunch of gobby yous in a fast food joint. I didn't realise what the film was, and I thought, you know what, I really want to watch that. So I've added that to the watch list as well. And I will be showing you how this watch list is working, Jay. I know you think that I've not watched much in January, February, but you'd be surprised how much I've actually got through. I've just not put it on the group yet. But I'll see if I can do a little video shortly of exactly how my watch list is working as far as on the PC goes. The Good Son is definitely a great recommendation. Add that to your list for sure. Have done. This is Macaulay Culkin's very, very different from Home Alone type movie, isn't it? Again, a pleasure to see your face this week. Cheers, mate. Before I go, question: can you recommend a film from your least favourite genre that you unexpectedly liked, and then one from your favourite genre that you thought was toss? I will give that some thought in time for next week, Chris. I spotted that last night and I thought I must look into that. And then I've literally just seen it at the end of the notes and I thought, oh, bloody hell, I've not thought about it. So leave that with me, mate. I'll come back to that one next week. Have a great weekend and week. So thanks, Chris. Much appreciated and brilliant to hear from you. Looking forward to seeing what your next Western is. Dave Taylor. Morning, Dave. Hi, Zoners. We have probably talked before about what your favourite cartoons are. God, this goes back. My memories go back to the mid-60s as a kid. In the 1980s, stuff like He-Man, Thundercats didn't do it for me as I was in my 20s. I couldn't stand Danger Mouse or Pokemon. The ones of the 80s, the He-Man and the Thundercats and stuff like that, I'm only just recently becoming interested in them thanks to Callie and Guy's podcast, Higgis. They talk a lot about sort of X-Men 97, all that kind of thing. Gargoyles is another one, and they've actually infused me with a bit of interest in these things. So I will be taking a look at some of them. But back in the day, they did nothing for me at all, which is why I didn't bother with any of the big screen adaptations of them. I'm probably the only person on the group who hasn't seen Masters of the Universe. So I do intend to put that right at some point. These are the ones I used to watch. Deputy Dog, oh my God, that takes me back. Popeye, yep. Casper, the Friendly Ghost, never seen that one. Mr. Magoo, loved Mr. Magoo. Yogi Bear, Top Cat, Tom and Jerry, the Pink Panther, my God. Wacky Races, Scooby-Doo, Crystal Tips and Alistair, remember that one. The Hair Bear Bunch, Rhubarb. My top 5 in no particular order are Deputy Dog, Mr. Magoo, Yogi Bear, Top Cat and Tom and Jerry. Oh, what a top 5. We knew how to do cartoons back then, didn't we? They were just magic, and I still love watching them now. My dad used to watch cartoons with me. He loved Top Cat, as he always came out on top, and Tom and Jerry, he loved Butch the Bulldog and the housekeeper, Mammy. You can't say that now, can you? Jason, you commented on this. I'd have to agree with most of your cartoon list. Hair Bear Bunch, Yogi Bear, Captain Caveman, Fang Face. I never saw Fang Face. Godzilla, all the Looney Tunes characters, Hong Kong Phooey, Top Cat, Popeye, Mr. Magoo, Mr. Ben. Mr. Ben was brilliant. Bod, that theme tune. Pink Panther, Foghorn Leghorn, Wacky Races, and of course Tom and Jerry. I wasn't a fan of He-Man or Thundercats when I was a teenager. I still thought they were shit, same as Transformers. Nope, not for me. I love the classic cartoons and I'd still watch them today. I still watch them every now and then. I do love to sort of rerun the original Scooby-Doo from the late 60s. I've seen them quite a few times. I'd love to watch the Flintstones. Wacky Races were good. Dastardly and Muttley was good fun. There were so many. Thanks for that, Dave. Much appreciated, mate. That was a trip back in time. Stuart, morning Stu. The Day the Earth Caught Fire is fantastic. Edward Judd is amazing in it. The Omega Man is also fantastic. Carry On Abroad is my favourite. Love Grease. By the way, did you know it's Blue Roy Movie's favourite film? Why do I get the feeling you're lying to me about that? I've got the feeling I've heard Roy talk about Grease before and saying that he hated it. Am I thinking of somebody else? If it is, good on you, Roy, for admitting to that one. Unwatched films. I love The Princess Bride. Never seen it, so I don't know, but I will be taking a look at it. Tongue-in-cheek, fun film. Producers not keen on. Again, obviously not seen it. As for Avatar, man, I found it so dull and lifeless. Oh my God, Chris Eukin will have a contract out on you by the end of the week. He absolutely adores Avatar. I have got that version of it, obviously, which is a long-ass fucking film. It's about 3 hours plus, something like that. And I will be taking a look at it, but I have got to be in the right mood for that one. Soundtracks. Yeah, I love any John Williams film score. You literally can't go wrong. I can't think of a bad one that he's done. The score for Close Encounters is just beautiful. Love your vinyl collection, mate. I've got loads more. I know I have loads more upstairs. I just can't find them. There was a time I collected pretty much every soundtrack going. I would just, any film that I watched, I'd just buy the soundtrack for it. And I thought I'd kept a lot of them, but I can't seem to find them. Whether I've given them away or lost them or what, I don't know. But I'm going to keep looking because I've got a massive soundtrack collection that I would love to show off. Question. Do you like Cher as an actress? I think she's fantastic. Name me a few of your favourite Cher films if you like her. I love her. Absolutely love her. My favourite of hers has got to be Come Back to the Five and Dime. Jimmy Dean. With Sandy Dennis. Absolutely brilliant movie. I've seen it quite a few times. Love it. Definitely due for a rerun on that one. She was superb in Mask. She was good in The Witches of Eastwick. Suspect. Excellent. Silkwood, amazing. There are 3 or 4 that I would love to see that I've not got round to talking about yet, to watching yet. Mermaids is one. That Shoop song put me off it completely. They used to play it on Top of the Pops, and it was basically with clips of the film over it, like a video. And the look of the film I just thought, oh God, that don't look very good. But I was talking about this with a colleague a few weeks ago, and she was telling me, I think you'd be surprised how much you'd enjoy it. So I'm going to be tracking that one down. The same with Moonstruck. I can't remember whether I watched that or not. It was available, if I remember correctly, on VHS when I worked there. but I don't know whether I actually watched it or not. I can't remember. And one that I do want to watch is Tea with Mussolini, with Joan Plowright, which I think sounds absolutely amazing. So I would definitely love to take a look at those three, and I will be doing at some point soon. So thanks for that, Stuart. Much appreciated, mate. Always good to hear from you. Roy, the grease lover. Morning, Roy. If that is right, then I apologise, Roy. I'm not taking the piss. I just get the feeling I've heard you talk about this movie before, and it wasn't in exactly glowing terms, but I could be thinking of somebody else. Morning, great stuff as usual. Thanks, Roy. Much appreciated, mate. I love Brief Encounter. I'm not sure if I've told you before, but the film was shot at Carnforth Station in Lancashire, although it's set in the home counties. You've not told me this before, but I love this. This was because it was shot during the war, and it would give them time to comply with regulations if there was an air raid. Movie makers today, they don't know the trouble that they went through back then to get a film made. They think they've got problems now. They have converted the buffet back to, oh, is it the buffet car? Back to an exact replica of how it was when they shot the film. The station also houses the David Lean Museum. It's a fantastic place to visit. That would be interesting. I made a couple of videos on the last two occasions I visited. I will go back through my videos and send them on to you. Please do, Roy. I would love to see those. I do enjoy David Lean's films, the ones that I've seen. Lawrence of Arabia. Was Bridge on the River Kwai one of his? I can't remember. But I would love to see those videos if you can track them down, Roy. I'd love to watch those. Unfortunately, due to a wrangling between the owner and the council, the famous clock has not been in place for about 3 years, but was there for many years. That's amazing. I would love to get hold of a book on the making of Brief Encounter, because I'll bet it'd just be an interesting read if that's the kind of stuff that's in it. So thanks for that, Roy. Much appreciated. And I look forward to watching those two videos that you made at the David Lean Museum. Ollie. Morning, Ollie. Hi, Tony. Another great video. Cheers, mate. Much appreciated. I will be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of Breakfast at Tiffany's. However, I did love Wait Until Dark. Breakfast at Tiffany's is an acquired taste. Kind of. I wasn't keen on it the first time I watched it. I've seen it 2 or 3 times since, and I do enjoy it. All apart from Mickey Rooney's outrageously over the top portrait of an Oriental gentleman, which, as I said before, absolutely would not fly nowadays. Wait Until Dark is absolutely brilliant, and I would definitely, I think I mentioned this last week, recommend Blind Terror, or as I think it's known now, Wait Until Dark, starring Mia Farrow. It's along the same kind of lines, but really, really well done. It's a British film as well, so definitely worth a look. Watched a few Stephen King adaptations this week, including Cat's Eye and Salem's Lot. Do you have any hidden gem recommendations from him? I've got a couple here. You ever heard of one called Apt Pupil? Stars Brad Renfro and Saria McKellen. The basic premise of it is, and I've got it written here, neighbourhood boy Todd Bowden discovers that an old man living on his block named Arthur Denker, played by McKellen, is a Nazi war criminal. Bowden confronts Denker and offers him a deal. Bowden will not go to the authorities if Denker tells him stories of the concentration camps in World War II. Disturbing stuff, but a really, really good film. I've not seen this since it first came out, and I believe it was mid to late 90s, I believe. But a really, really good film. I've got it on DVD upstairs, and it's one that I now want to catch up on, having read that. So yeah, that's recommended. Another one we watched just a few months ago, Mr. Harrigan's Phone. It's on Netflix. I've not put any synopsis under these ones, but that's definitely worth watching. Maximum Overdrive is great fun. It's a really divisive movie. Some love it, some hate it. I thought it was absolutely amazing and still do. Silver Bullet. This is Corey Haim and Gary Busey. It's a tale of werewolves based on a Stephen King book, or was it a short story? I can't remember. But again, really, really good. Needful Things is worth a look. Just great fun, mixed with some pretty nasty horror. So, but yeah, I would go for those. Apt Pupil, Mr. Harrigan's Phone, Maximum Overdrive, Silver Bullet, and Needful Things, all recommended. Also, what are your thoughts on Ben Wheatley? Oh God, I've been watching some of his films this week, and I think he's an excellent director. Do you have a favourite film of his? I've got quite a troubled relationship with Ben Wheatley's movies. I saw Kill List quite a while ago, probably a couple of years ago. Um, and as well made as it was, and as good a film as it was, I couldn't get past the hammer attack. I did see the end of it, but my finger was permanently paused over the mute button in case there was any more sort of really nasty unpleasantness to come. Um, Kill List was excellent, but it was a little bit too much for me, and I was a little bit nervous about tackling any more of his films. I did watch A Field in England, which I thought was really, really good. Trippy as fuck, but really, really good. Black and white movies set during the English Civil War, I think. Um, I wanted to watch In the Earth, but I heard quite a few reviews of it, and again, I've shied away from this one because of a toe cutting incident in it, which got quite a lot of attention when it first came out. Um, so I've kind of shied away from that one, but the idea of it sounds absolutely fascinating. So I maybe will take a look at that one. I can always skip the toe cutting incident and see how I go with it. But Ben Wheatley, I think his films, the ones I've seen, are really, really well made. Just very, very strange and rather unpleasant, to put it mildly. So, what are your favourites? I know you've seen. It doesn't say what you've seen. Let me know which ones you've watched. I think you've seen Kill List. I'd be curious to know what you thought of that one. You obviously enjoyed it. And on the subject of Jeff Nichols, a director I'd never heard of, and I asked for recommendations, and you said I would say start with Mud, Take Shelter, and Midnight Special. They all show 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Calm, slow down. I would say start with Mud, Take Shelter, and Midnight Special. Show all ends of the spectrum in terms of Jeff Nichols' filmography. Stay tuned. I did an underrated British Gems video about a month ago. A bit of a long one, but some great titles there. I will be checking that out. I didn't know that, so I will definitely be checking that out, and I'll give you my thoughts on that one next week. Hope you have a great week. All the best, Ollie. Cheers, Ollie. Much appreciated, mate. Always brilliant to hear from you. I watched one of your videos yesterday. I think it was your weekly watches. I can't remember a thing about it. I'm so sorry. My memory is so tossed nowadays. I'll come back to that one as well, because there were a couple of titles I remember thinking, I'll mention those, and I've completely forgot what they were, so leave that with me. Quick comment from Simon Robson before I take a break. I think this is the first time Simon's commented, so good to hear from you, mate. You've never seen Unforgiven. Please make it the next film you watch. You won't regret it. It will go by the TV, and it will be the next movie I watch. I'm finishing work early, hopefully tomorrow, and I've got absolutely nothing planned. So by the time I've got home, showered and changed, it'll be 11 o'clock, and I'll have sort of 4 or 5 hours before the other half gets home. That is definitely getting watched, so leave that one with me. So right, I'm coming on to Sam's comments any second now. I'm going to take a quick break because I'm coming up to 30 minutes, and I'll be back in just a second. And we're back. Right, before I go any further, I'll just show you a little something here. Rob bought me a present this week for absolutely no reason. He was wandering around TK Maxx and thought of me the second he saw this. The vlogging kit. He gave it to me and he said, there you go, you could be more like the Kimfluencer now. It's like, fucking watching too much EastEnders. But I've not tried this yet, but it might solve my lighting problems. I think, Callie, I think you mentioned something about this a couple of weeks ago, that this is something that I could do with. It weighs quite a bit, so it's quite a good quality one, but I just thought I'd show that off. It's over there. Right, Sam. Hey up, Sam. Good morning, Tony. Great video as always. Thanks, mate. Awesome soundtracks there, mate. Loved the score for Wrath of Khan, my favourite instalment in the original Star Trek film series. I would have to say it's also mine. Let me centralise myself. I've done it again. I do this every week. There you go. Yeah, I would definitely say so. And the score is a major part of why I love that movie. It is just brilliant. It was always on the turntable when I bought it, always. Conan and Commando are both awesome Arnie movies. Tony Mate would highly recommend them. Stay tuned. I've never heard of Hell Drivers. Sounds wild from its premise. Great cast as well. It's an amazing movie, and I can't believe it took me so long to watch it, especially with the cast list. You got like Sean Connery, Alfie Bass, William Hartnell, Stanley Baker. Completely forgot to mention the star of it last week, Stanley Baker. And to base a movie around a group of lorry drivers who are constantly trying to outdo each other regarding the speed with which they can make these deliveries. Way before the days of health and safety, you would not get away legally with driving a truck the way these guys do. I think they're transporting, I think it's gravel or something like that, but the driving sequences have got to be seen to be believed. So if you've not seen Hell Drivers, track a copy down, Sam. I guarantee you will like it, because I know you love your old British movies. You won't be disappointed with that. I'm definitely due for a rewatch of that one. It's one of Caroline's favourites as well. Morning, Caroline, if you're watching. I have to get the BFI Blu-ray of The Day the Earth Caught Fire in the next sale. Heard excellent things about it. It's a brilliant movie. Absolutely brilliant. It's a science fiction movie, but it's got a real sort of connection to reality, and it's uncomfortable to watch some parts of it, but really, really good. I watched Carry On Henry earlier in the week and thought it was solid, mate. I believe I'm on to Carry On at Your Convenience next. I'd love to know what you think of that one. Carry On Cowboy is rather underrated, very enjoyable film as well. I thought Joan Sims was amazing in that. Talking of Paddy Considine, Tony, have you seen Journeyman or Tyrannosaur? Both films he directed. I haven't, but I'd be very interested in taking... Oh, my notes have gone. Ooh. There we go. They're back. Journeyman and Tyrannosaur. Journeyman is a very good boxing drama. Not seen Tyrannosaur. Heard it's bleak yet brilliant. There's also a film called In America. I've not heard of that one at all, which he starred in. The film went up for Oscars at the time. That's one I need to track down. Journeyman I'll take a look at. It basically sounds like it would make a good double bill with Cinderella Man, which Mark recommended me the other week and I picked up on Blu-ray. So leave that one with me. I'll look into that one. Tyrannosaur, I've read there's a nasty scene with basically cruelty to a dog, which has kind of put me off it. But I've also heard it's a very, very dark, unsettling film. Could it be any more dark and unsettling than Dead Man's Shoes? I honestly don't know. But leave it with me. I will track both of those down, and I will look into Tyrannosaur. I'm not promising anything with that one, but I'll certainly take a look at Journeyman, especially if he directed it. And In America, I'll look into that one as well. I heard very good things about When a Stranger Calls. Might look out for the Second Sight edition at some point. Fright was very solid, mate. Brilliantly acted. Love Fright. When a Stranger Calls, my God, you never forget the first time you hear that line, have you checked the children? My God. And basically, I would say the first 20 minutes is just amazing. And again, you never forget the first time that you hear where the calls are coming from. It's just unbelievable, but well worth watching if you've never seen it. Cheers for those Hammer film recommendations, Tone. I must take a look at some of those. Keep up the awesome work as ever, bud, and bring on next Saturday's blog. I have still got questions here that I've not answered from weeks ago, but one of them here, I was thinking about this last night. Do I have any movies? Oh no, not that one. Which artist would I like to see a music biopic made on? I've got a number of basically book biographies of pop stars that I would love to see movies made of. So what I'll do is I'll sort out 4 or 5 of those for next week, and I'll show them, and I will explain why I would love to see them made into movies. So leave that with me. I'm still thinking about do I have any movies based on a book where I prefer the movie to the book? That's another one you need to leave with me. I will come back to that one, I promise. So thanks for that, Sam. Always good to hear from you as per usual. Mark, morning, Captain. Morning, Mark. Just a quick one off as I'm off to the football. Pissed again. Don't worry your 6 classics. 5, 4, 3, 2, fucking 1. Don't worry about your 6 classics that you've never seen. I've only seen 2 of them, and I thought one of them was shit. Can you guess which 2 I've seen and which I thought was shit? I'm guessing the crap one for you would have been Avatar. Am I right? And I reckon the one that you enjoyed was Commando. Am I right or am I wrong? If I'm wrong, let me know. Walk the Line is a good biography film. I used to have that on DVD back in the day. This is one that Callie has recommended to me as well. So I've got it on Blu-ray, so I will be taking a look at that one, hopefully within the next few days. Films where the title gives away the plot of the film. True story. A few weeks back, I was talking to a chap at work who loves shit horror movies. Sounds like a man after my own heart, that one. And I said, have you seen Killer Sofa? And he said, no. What's that about? I looked at him in confusion and I said, oh, it's about a horse that wants to become a singer. For fuck's sake, daft cunt. Killer Sofa. What can I say about Killer Sofa that hasn't already been said? It's amazing, and it really isn't as stupid as it sounds. If anybody can track down Killer Sofa and take a look at it and basically confirm what I'm saying, it's just not as daft as it's meant to be. I thought it was amazing. I just absolutely loved it, and I would love to watch it again. If it's still on Prime, I might give that another spin. But yeah, Killer Sofa, highly recommended. Great video, same time next week. Absolutely, Mark. You can count on that. Thanks for that, mate. Jason K, our Ginger Ninja. Morning, Jay. Hope everything's settled down for you, mate, and that your job's all sorted and that you've moved in. I know moving into another house is just a complete nightmare. I wouldn't want to do it again. Definitely not. G'day, Tony. I died a little on the inside when I heard you say you had not seen Commando. Fear not, kind sir. It has now been watched. I watched it yesterday. You will have already read, I think, a never seen review, which I'm going to be dropping hopefully over the next couple of days, explaining why I loved it. I just thought it was brilliant. The action scenes were cracking. The one-liners were just amazing. The soundtrack was great. The violence was pretty bad. I had the choice between, and I didn't realise this one that I've got here actually features the theatrical cut and the director's cut. Now, I watched the theatrical cut, which I thought was amazing, and after it had finished I looked up the difference between the theatrical and the director's cut, and apparently it's mostly stronger violence and certain scenes that were cut, or tiny scenes that were cut, in order to get it an R rating as opposed to an X, which is the basically the strongest certificate possible in the US. And the thing is, I think a lot of the sequences that they cut was something like 2 or 3 seconds. So will I be watching the director's cut? Yeah, it's almost certainly that I will be watching this again, and the next time I watch it, it will be the director's cut. But whether I'll actually notice any major difference is another matter. But I loved it, absolutely loved it. Schwarzenegger, has he ever looked that good since? Good blimey. He looks, literally, when he flexes his arms, it looks like he's about to literally explode. So, but a cracking movie. I'm only sorry that it took me 40 years to catch up with it, but it's made me want to take a look at movies like Raw Deal, Eraser, I think was one of his. Any other recommendations that I might not have heard of? Drop them in the comments. Well, if we are going on films we haven't seen, Saturday Night Fever. Shocker, never seen it. Will that change? Maybe. What would you make to Saturday Night Fever? You're a horror aficionado, so I'm not sure. I'd be very curious to know what you would think of it, definitely. So if you do watch that, a video is definitely required on that one. And if you've never seen Jason Takes Manhattan, don't worry, you are not missing much. If I were to rate the entire franchise, that would come last. I'm not in any hurry to watch it. I mean, I will take a look at it at some point, but You know, whenever I end up watching the Friday the 13th films, it's usually the first two, and then I tend to leave it at that. That Amicus collection set that Amicus collection set looks awesome. It is. It's absolutely brilliant. It's just a shame that when you open it up, all the discs drop out, so you can't show it off properly. What I could do with doing maybe is taking the discs out and then showing it off, so it doesn't matter, because there'll be nothing in there to drop out. So yes, Soylent Green, such a moody, atmospheric film. Same with the Omega Man. Can't wait to hear can't wait to hear about all those movies. Stammer. 4, 3, 2, 1. Start again. Yeah, I've got Soylent Green and the Omega Man on the watch list, which I know I keep saying this, and I know I do, but when you see what I've actually got through in January and what is coming up, hopefully sort of March, April, you'll see that I am making an effort to get through these. But the Omega Man I'm definitely up for, and Soylent Green. Here is a question for you. There is a lot of talk about what movies could never be made nowadays due to the Woke Brigade, but what movie would you like to see remade? No limits to what movie, can be any film, as in this question, the Woke Brigade... oh yeah, for the purposes of this question, the Woke Brigade do not exist. Leave that with me. I've been thinking of that and I can't think of any, but leave it with me, Jay, and I will come back to you on that. So thanks, mate. As I say, hope everything's settling down for you, and always good to hear from you. Guy. Morning, Guy. Hello, mate, and everyone else. If you want to see a great Will Smith film, I think you'd love... if you want to see a great Will Smith film, I think you'd love, check out The Pursuit of Happiness. I've heard of this. Is this the tearjerker that somebody recommended to me that I thought was £7 and it's not? Probably. Movies you've not seen. I'm surprised we didn't get a 3-hour episode. You sarky sod. Not you and all. Enough of this from Jason. Yeah, I mean, if obviously if I did hold up every single movie that I've not seen that I've got in my collection, we would be here all day. So I kind of get that. Soundtrack say you're going to love the next episode of Higgis if you remember to watch it. Ooh, yeah. Biblical epics, no thanks. They're not your thing, and from a comment by Jason later on, they're not his either. Local hero, you were thinking of Peter Capaldi, that's the one. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Why would you get backlash for watching a Russ Meyer film? Because it's one of the most, how can I put this? It's just not the kind of thing you would expect me to be watching, but I do love exploitation movies, so that's pretty much it. I just expected somebody to say, what fucking hell are you watching a Russ Meyer film for? Great stuff as ever, mate. See you next week. Absolutely, Guy, good to hear from you, mate. Hope you're all okay over there. Callie. Morning, sweetheart. Good morning, Tony, and good morning, Zoners. Where would we all be without a bit of Saturday morning Tony time? That is so much appreciated. Thank you so much. I forgive you for calling me Gap Tooth, by the way. Cow. You wait until I've had the dental work done and I've got my fucking Tom Cruise smile back again. I'll make you eat those words. No, I really, really appreciate that. And as I said before, I'm really enjoying doing these videos at the moment. It didn't show much last week, but on the whole, I'm really enjoying doing these, and you guys seem to be enjoying them as much as 4, 3, 2, fucking 1. We'll come back to that. Not even 30 seconds in, and we have bollocks followed by a fuck. I aim to please. I'm buying another copy of a film you've already got. I've done that more than once. I get the feeling I've done it as well. Apart from the one that I showed last week, I get the feeling I'm going to come across one or two that I've got sort of 2 copies of, and I'm going to think, what, eh? Will Smith movies. How have you never seen Men in Black? Good sci-fi comedy. I think that's probably one Will Smith film I have seen, but a long, long time back, and I don't think I bothered with the second one. It was all right, as I remember. Nothing special, but it was okay. Conan, what a classic. Yeah, that's on my watch list, as you know. Avatar, good film, but at nearly 4 hours, it takes a big chunk out of your day. This is one reason I'm sort of shying away from it, but I will come to terms with that one, I promise you. Are the Princess Bride, a film that I have never seen from start to finish. Need to correct that mistake. Same here, people are telling me it's an 80s classic, and a lot of people have seen it. I didn't think it was that popular, but apparently it was. How the fuck have you never seen Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Tony? The song from the film was at #1 in the charts for like 16 weeks. I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. I will put these things right. I promise you, just bear with me. Not seen Commando either. Now I really am disappointed. I have, as you now know. So that's one that I have put right. Star Trek The Wrath of Khan. It was me, honey. I like to joke that the film was overrated just to get a rise out of Trekkies like Guy and Jimmy Lee. Yes, I remember it now you've said that. Yes, I do remember that. As Guy said in his comment, wait for this week's episode of Honey Geek is showing if you love a good soundtrack. I can't wait for this. Smoking Jesus on a cross. Why do I want that as a collectible in my collection? I would love that. A little figure of Robert Powell with a cigarette hanging out of his gob, hanging on the crucifix. Oh, yeah. Walk the Line. Yes, get it watched and let us know what you think. There are certain titles that keep coming up, and I'm separating them, making them a priority. There's probably 5 or 6. So you will be hearing sort of my thoughts on these movies within the next few weeks, if not days. So bear with me on that. And Die Hard, the perfect Christmas film. Yeah, I said it. Is it a Christmas film? Is it really? Apart from the fact it's set at Christmas, it's not festive, is it? Or is it? Maybe. The Friday the 13th movies, I love them all. The good ones and the bad ones. But if I had to pick a favourite, it would have to be part 6. Simply because it didn't take itself seriously and just had fun with the kills. The bit with the smiley face on the tree. Can't remember that. Is this Jason Lives? This is the. I'm fairly sure it's Jason Lives. I have seen it. I've seen them all apart from Jason Takes Manhattan. Yes, I think we're about due a rewatch of that series. Have I got time to do Cali? Oh, this is a quote from me last week, basically coming up to 25 minutes, and have I got time to do Cali? I could make so many jokes, but I won't. And morning, hun, she says halfway through her comment. Not sure about that bit. Come back to that. Thank you for the kind comments about my book. If you think the start is disturbing, just wait till you reach the Miss Scarlet Envy chapters. As for my books, I've written 2 so far. The short story you are currently reading, which is sort of a prologue. The second book, Twisted Sister, is longer and expands the story. And lastly, I'm currently working on book 3, Ashwood Asylum, which at the moment is 139 pages, and I've not even reached the halfway point yet. I will finish the section that you've sent me, and I'll let you know my thoughts on it. I'm still basically working my way through it, but I will finish that and I shall let you know. Are these actually going to be published on physical media, as in books or paperbacks, or are they just going to be on digital download? I'm just curious about that. Let me know. If any zoners would like to give the short story a read, please feel free to drop me a message and I'll send you a link. Guys, you won't regret it. It's a hell of a read. The bit that I've read so far, fuck. Disturbing as hell. But definitely worth a read. So if any of you want to check out the contents of Callie's Twisted Head, send her a request, a message, and she'll send you a link. You won't regret it. At the time of making this comment, I'll let you off the hook, as opposed to putting you on one, as Violet would do, because I was greeted to not 1 but 2 comments from you on the last few episodes when I woke up this morning. Basically, I was working yesterday and I'd set up your 2 podcasts, which was X-Men 97 and I believe the interview that you did with the people that made the Hellraiser movie, the new 2022 one, which I've definitely stuck on my watch list thanks to listening to that. So I basically had the chance to catch up on everything that has happened over the last 2 weeks, and I'm definitely looking forward to the soundtrack one. And I thought, you know what, I might as well comment now while I'm about it, so that's why I did that. Enjoyed both episodes, by the way. I did make some notes, if they're on my phone here. There weren't many, just bear with me. Oh, it's disappeared. I'll have to come back on that. I think it was mostly to do with what you and Guy have been watching. I think Guy had been watching that thing about narrowboats, which sounded intriguing, and also Reacher, which we were going to start watching last night, but we got too much into adolescence and ended up watching 2 episodes of that. And I think the plan is, I think, to finish adolescence first before somebody tells us how it finishes, because I get the feeling, as straightforward as it looked at the end of the first episode, I remember thinking, well, surely there's nothing more to tell, is there? And then all of a sudden things started happening in the second episode. So basically we want to finish watching that one before somebody starts letting the cats out of the bags about the ending, because I'm getting the feeling there's going to be a lot more to this than we think. So looking forward to taking a look at Reacher. The clips that I've seen on YouTube, it does look awesome. If I can cope with the cracking bones and stuff, I'll be all right. But I'm going to take a look at that. All good choices for Jeff Goldblum, home. I'd say my favourites are The Fly, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and Hideaway. Hideaway's the only one I've not seen, so I will be checking that out. And I would love to take another look at Into the Night, because that sounds intriguing. Oh yes, hon, when you film on different times and days to what you normally would do, it does throw you off a bit. It just was not happening last week, and it was because it was happening. Say, filming Monday afternoon, it just felt wrong, and it did. I was tired. I was stammering all over the place. I was forgetting stuff. This is how I get towards the middle of the day. If I'm going to record something like this, it has to be nice and early in the morning, so that I can get it all sort of done by preferably 9 o'clock. But yeah, you know what it's like when you filming at weird times. Super Vixens, that's a classic, but it's actually the second one, hon. The first one is just called Vixens. Sad that I know that. It isn't. I actually feel like I found a kindred spirit. Because, as I say, it's not my kind of a film, but I love the idea of Russ Meyer movies, and I've never seen one. I will be grabbing a copy of Vixen, and I believe there are about 3 others on 4K that have just been released. I'll be grabbing all those as well. But maybe we can compare notes on that one. As I say, I think I found a kindred spirit. If you're into those movies, I think we've got something to talk about. Another great episode, Hon. Catch you in the next one, and hope you have a great week. Thanks, Callie, and the very same to you. Jason P. Morning, Jay. Great vid as always. Never saw nothing wrong with it at all. You never do. You should have seen it from my point of view. It just looked terrible, but I looked at it on Friday before I actually uploaded it to YouTube and thought, oh, it's not massively bad, but I really can't be bothered to record the whole damn thing again. So I sort of went with it. Nobody seems to be bothered about it. So doubling up on movies. I own about 1,300 movies. I know what I've got and on what format. If you don't, then you definitely need to sort out. You said you were doing it a few years ago, but this is the same as your January watch list, which has now rolled into March, April. I knew he was going to pull me up on this at some point. I will show you what's happening with the watch list. Leave that with me. It is not as bad as you maybe think it is, but we'll see. Your 6 classics. Oh, this is the 6 movies that I've not seen. Avatar, absolutely fucking shite. Chris will have a contract out on you by the end of the day as well. Producers, never seen and wouldn't want to. Fair enough. Commando, probably seen this movie about 20 times. I had a feeling you'd enjoy that one. Conan the Barbarian, this will appear in my never seen thread soon. I shall probably follow you on that one. Princess Bride, meh, meh, meh again. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, one of my all-time favourite movies, and you also have the extended version, The Same as Me, which you bought last year, in capital letters, last year, not a few weeks ago, so don't give us none of your shit. You forget I have a good memory. Yeah. I see what you mean about the Bryan Adams song, but I think it's only played in full on the end credits and about a 30-second instrumental during the film. I don't think it's only that put me off. It just seemed a very sort of Hollywoodized version. I don't know. Leave it with me. I will get through that one. That's one of those ones that I mentioned earlier that's in the small pile by the TV that I've got to tackle first. That's one of them. Unlike The Bodyguard, which is good, but I can't watch due to Whitney's warbling, which I think was the point of it. I Will Always Love You is my most hated song of all time. Bloody hell. My fucking ears bleed when that comes on. I have to turn over to another radio station. Is it really that bad? I absolutely loved it. I thought it was gorgeous. Horses for course, isn't it? Biblical movies. I'd rather turn my TV off and stare at the ceiling for 3 hours than watch any of that bollocks. I think I mentioned earlier you weren't keen on them. Duel is another one of those movies where if you didn't grow up with it, you wouldn't like it now. Mark, it's over to you for this one. Have you seen this one? Has he seen it? I don't know. I did have a copy on here to show, but Mark, Duel, I would love to see what you think of that. My guess is you will think it's boring. I'll be very, very surprised if you really enjoyed it, but we think it's a classic. We do. I think you commented, no, never seen Duel. I'm willing to give it a go though. Please track it down. I held the box up earlier on if you want to take a look for it. It's the 4K, it's just been released. But I believe it's out on Blu-ray and DVD. John Wick box set. You're not sure if you will watch 2 or 3. Well, maybe the guy who lent you his box set would like it back at some point this year. My God, you've got your socky head on this one. I gave it him back ages ago. I watched the first one and thought, I think I've pretty much seen everything I need to see, but there's no saying I won't take a look at the other ones. Good Son, yeah, that's the one. That's the Macaulay Culkin movie. Jeff Goldblum movies. The Tall Guy and Earth Girls Are Easy were okay back when they first came out. Not sure what they will look like now. Oh, and I remember Into the Night premiering on terrestrial TV in the early 90s. That's probably where I saw it. But I would love to take that in again. That's it for today. I think I've heard my sarcasm points for today, for the month, mate. So, right, I'm coming up on 28 minutes. I've got a few bits that I want to show off that I've bought. I've not gone mad, but I've got a few bits here, so I'll be back in a sec just to show you what I've been spending my hard-earned money on. And we're back. Right, as promised, this is a quick demonstration of how I'm making the watch list work for this year. As you can see, I've got them all here. That's 2025's watch list. Now, these are all the movies that you have recommended to me over the last few months that I drag and drop the posters as soon as you recommend them. So they're there waiting for me. That is January and February's watched list. See, there are quite a few in there. I've not done too bad. March and April's looking a bit sad at the moment, but I've only got 2 in there so far. But that will populate itself over the next few weeks, I promise you. But that's basically how I'm working it. The second you recommend me a movie, I download it, the poster, like you do, Jace. I'm doing it the same way you do it. Download the poster into here, and as soon as I've watched the movie, I drag and drop it into the appropriate folder. And going back, I've also done a folder for my discoveries of 2025, which are movies that you've recommended to me that are quite old and that you're surprised I've never seen, and I've really, really enjoyed way more than I thought I would. Trading Places is the only one that's in there at the moment. There's also one here, my top 10 new movies of 2025. There's only 2 in there at the moment. That's Better Man and Nosferatu, but that will increase as time goes on. And that's basically how I'm making it work, guys. I don't think you realise how many I'd actually watched. I know you're probably going to say, God, I could have watched 3 times that amount, but this is obvious. This is much better than I thought I would do, and I'm now finding more time to actually watch movies, so that will increase. And all of these, including the ones that are not on there, will be dragged and dropped into one of these folders over the next few months. So that's basically how it's working. If I just turn the camera around and say resetting it all, there we go. So as promised, you can now see how the watch list is working. So a few bits to show off very quickly before I disappear on you. I'll start off with a book. I read this guy's first book. I think it was called Stories I Only Tell My Friends, which was absolutely superb. And this is another one of his that I spotted. I didn't even know this existed. Love Life by Rob Lowe. It's another volume of stories, again, that he only tells his friends. quite personal, some of them I gather, but this only cost me about, I think it was £4 something, so I spotted it on paperback, so I thought I'd have a copy of that. A couple of magazines, the latest issue of Scream. I've got the funny feeling I've already bought this, but I spotted it on, I think it was advertised on Facebook, so I thought, oh yeah, I won't mind that. But you've got articles on Night of the Demon, an article on Silver Bullet, which is a movie I recommended to Ollie a bit earlier, an article on Jason Lives, by the looks of it, Razorback. That's all sorts in. I love this magazine, very colourful, great articles. Also, the latest issue of Empire, which is probably, is it May? Does it even say May 2025? So well ahead with that. Latest issue of Yours Retro, articles on Judy Garland, Elvis, Hollywood and the Mob, Clark Gable, The Carpenters and Jodie Foster, and Charlie Drake, the stunt that almost ended his career. That's going to be an interesting read. The latest issue of Sight and Sound with Boom Bong Joon-ho, I always get his name wrong, on his sci-fi satire Mickey 17, which is getting quite a bit of publicity at the moment. There's also articles on Martin Scorsese, Steven Soderbergh, Robert Eggers. So that's going to be a good read. That's volume 35. That's April 2025. So I'm going to have a read of that. I've also got some DVD stroke Blu-rays here. Ollie, I've taken your recommendation. I've grabbed a copy of Take Shelter. I know very little about it. I've not even read the back, so I'm going to go into this one completely blind and let you know what I think of it. Also, In for a Penny, In for a Pound, Mud, starring Matthew McConaughey and Ty Sheridan. Again, know very little about it, apart from the fact it's about a guy who lives on a dilapidated old boat. That's pretty much all I know. And finally, Midnight Special. I've heard of this one and I know something about it. Isn't it a kid that's got special powers or something like that? But these are all by the director Jeff Nichols, who I was not familiar with at all until Ollie brought him to my attention. So I'll be taking a look at that one. I got this box set through yesterday, which I've been looking forward to getting for ages. They've been out of stock of it. Al Pacino Cruising, directed by William Friedkin. Controversial as hell in 1980 when it first came out, due to some of the sequences in there. Can't wait to have a look at this because it features, let's get this, where are we? Finally restored to its long unavailable original theatrical version in 4K. Got it on Blu-ray but I haven't got it on 4K, so I'm really looking forward to taking a look at what that looks like. This is another one. Who was talking about this? Steve Mack, our Criterion guy. He was basically saying that I think it's coming out on 4K in the States. I found this on eBay for about £9. So I thought, you know what, I'll have a look at that. It's a movie that didn't appeal to me when I first saw it on the DVD rental shelf all those years ago. It never bothered me. But listening to Steve's review of it definitely made me want to watch it. So I thought I'd grab a copy of that and see what I think. This is another one that I believe Ollie had. I used to be a big fan of the series Tenko. Remember that from years ago? Set in a women's POW camp in Japan. I love movies like A Town Like Alice. I believe that was a similar thing. This is one that he recommended, Three Came Home. Again, know nothing about it apart from the fact that it is set in a Japanese prisoner of war camp for women. So I was really intrigued by that one, so I thought I'd give that a go, Ollie. And this one was recommended by Sam, who absolutely loves this series. I've never seen it. Stars Christopher Eccleston, Gina McKee, Daniel Craig, way before his Bond days, and Mark Strong, our friends in the north. I get the feeling Rob will enjoy this. He loves a good drama, so we're going to have a look at this and see what it's like. But I get the feeling I'm going to enjoy this one. But the way you were talking about it, Sam, I literally couldn't resist it. And when I saw it was only £4 something on Amazon for a used copy, got to have it. So I'm all out. That's it. You're all done. Thanks ever so much for joining me, guys. And once again, thank you so much for your continued support, all the comments you post, the questions you post. It's really, really so much appreciated. As I've said before, none of this would exist without you guys, because I'd have no reason to be sitting here talking complete and utter bollocks for an hour. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for supporting the channel, the website, all that kind of thing. Much appreciated. You'll never know how much it is actually appreciated. As I say, thanks ever so much for joining me, folks. Have a brilliant week, and I'll be back with you the same time next week with more of the same. So any questions you've got for me, anything you want me to take a look at, you know where to find me. Take care, guys. Have a brilliant week, and I will talk to you all again soon. Take care. Ta-da.